right now.
Now at 6 o'clock, a heroic rescue in Speedway. The reason a former sprint car driver is still alive tonight, recovering in the hospital.
Give us some time, wait and see what our results are, and make your judgments accordingly.
One day after being sworn in as the new mayor of Indianapolis, Joe Hogsett lays out his plan to end the city's public safety crisis. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Alexis McAdams in for Matt Smith. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett says give him 100 days and he'll make some big changes. He announced his entire law enforcement plan today alongside new police chief Troy Riggs. CBS4's Matt Smith was there and has more.
Local, state, and federal law enforcement were all part of the discussion at the mayor's summit, coming up with new ideas that they believe will help Indianapolis become a safer city.
Indianapolis is in the midst of a public safety crisis. The crime data shows it, and the fear that exists in our neighborhoods and throughout our community confirm it.
A new year and a new mayor for the city of Indianapolis, one with a plan to make big changes during the first 100 days of his administration.
We must be both tough and smart when it comes to law enforcement.
On his first full day as mayor, Joe Hogsett, along with members of local, state, and federal law enforcement, unveiled a plan of action to knock the city's crime rates down drastically.
Happening right now, an Indianapolis man is using his wheelchair to send a hopeful yet very clear message to Mayor Joe Hogsett today. Richard Pro taking 120 laps around Monument Circle. You can see him there to honor 120 children and young people killed by violence in Indianapolis since 2008. Now, Probst hopes his efforts encourage the new mayor to take action against violence citywide.
We're in a pretty serious time in this city in terms of violence, and so hopefully this is kind of serving as a call to action to say, you know, we need to do something.
Now, Probst started his laps at 9 o'clock this morning. He says it's going to take him all day to complete that full 120. This is the 25th year that he's hosted this tour. The gun violence in Indianapolis continues with the very first shooting of 2016 happening just last night. 18-year-old Michael Watts was shot during an attempted robbery on St. Paul Street on the city's Near East Side. Now, this happened just before midnight. We're told Watts has major injuries. Officers also say a woman, 20-year-old Cheyenne Caldwell, suffered a minor injury during this crime. At this point, we're not aware of any arrests. Also, a viewing is underway for 3 people killed in a horrific car crash tied to street racing in Indianapolis. Rogelio Legarreta and his friend Rebecca Rodriguez Gomez were killed alongside of their 12-year-old daughter just 2 days before Christmas. The viewing is until 8 o'clock tonight at the Usher Funeral Home. Now, the 3 died after a Ford Mustang, which you can see here, crossed the median on Southeast Street and struck them. The bodies of all 3 victims will be flown back to Mexico to be buried alongside of their family members there. Now, the crash is still under investigation, and so far, no charges have been filed. A candlelight vigil will be held tomorrow for these boys, the Brownsburg 4, who died in a crash Wednesday. This will be in the parking lot of Brownsburg High School. Officers say the teen's car crossed the median into the path of an oncoming minivan on State Road 37. A 22-year-old who was also in the car survived the crash. Police say he was the only one wearing his seatbelt. Investigators are still trying to determine why the car crossed that median. And taking a live look at downtown Indianapolis tonight. Looks beautiful out there, but it's very cold, even though it was sunny earlier today. Now it's time to check in with Weather Authority meteorologist John DeSauer. John? Thanks, John. A stretch of I-65 is back open in Clinton County after a serious crash at the State Road 28 exit. Now, 2 people were going northbound on I-65 when they hit a slick patch of road believed to be freezed over on that overpass. Now, the driver lost control of the car. It flipped over. Fire crews had to cut the person and another passenger from the car. Both were transported to local hospitals. You can stay on top of the weather with our free Weather Authority app. You can receive the latest alerts and forecasts sent right to your smartphone or tablet. We have new details tonight about a house fire in Speedway that sent one man to the hospital in critical condition. Friends say former sprint car driver Greg Stabb is awake and taking visitors today at the hospital. CBS4's Brian Bondis reports on the person who saved this man's life.
I was just on routine patrol.
Speedway police officer Ray Hurt was the first on scene to this fire at Greg Stabb's home in Speedway New Year's Day.
The whole back just engulfed. And that's when I got out and ran to the front.
Hurt started going around the house to see if anyone was inside. That's when he found Stabb passed out on the floor near the back door.
I picked him up and started dragging him out. And it was just like he kind of came to. I was just glad that he started breathing. He kind of woke up.
And that's a hero right there.
Bernie Stubjen owns Indy Race Parts and says Stabb did some work for him on the side. He usually got paid in car parts. He says he'd like to personally shake the officer's hand who helped Stabb.
Speedway fire investigators believe the blaze started accidentally in the couple's living room. Sadly, the woman who was inside of the home at the time of the fire did not survive. That was after the firefighters tried their best and the doctor's efforts. Now, family members say this woman, 45-year-old Penny Stewart, was inside and was declared brain dead last night. She's being kept on life support until her organs can be donated. Stewart was Stabb's girlfriend. The couples also had 2 dogs who died in the fire. Another family is without a home tonight after an electrical fire heavily damages their attic. This happened last night on Indy's east side when crews arrived. Smoke was coming from the attic. Neighbors say it was a big mess out there. Crews were able to get those flames under control in the attic. Luckily, no injuries were reported. The Red Cross is helping the family out tonight. In Oklahoma City, fire crews are trying to figure out what sparked an explosion at a home early this morning. One person was inside of the home when that explosion happened. That person was taken to the hospital and is being treated for burns. 2 others were also taken to the hospital after having severe trouble breathing. The 2 homes adjacent to the fire have extensive damage. A district fire chief did talk about the investigation and those injured.
Again, this could have been a much worse situation. With an explosion of this magnitude, with only 3 people being transported with minor injuries is actually a good thing.
Now, crews say 8 homes have been evacuated. Several other homes also have some holes in them. Their garage doors have been pushed in, and vehicles are also severely damaged. The Justice Department has announced it will investigate Bluebell ice cream after that listeria outbreak this past summer. Federal officials believe as early as 2013, the company was aware that at least 1 plant was contaminated. Investigators are now trying to determine what management knew and when. 3 people died and dozens became sick from products just last summer. An Indianapolis family is taking a very unique approach in an effort to find their missing dog. Marley, a white lab mix, went missing on Christmas Day. Since then, the family has hired a pet rescuer. Have you ever heard of those? They use bloodhounds to find missing animals. The family says they let their dog off her leash at a golf course and she took off.
Marley went off exploring. They called Marley. She didn't come and she ran off. She does have a red collar on, but unfortunately no tags because for Christmas they had just bought her a new red collar.
The family is also offering a $500 reward for anyone who can help return their dog. And we'll be right back with more on your weather.